it's Sami from Sami's Sweet Life, and we are talking budget today. So I had 1 month on our budget, and it turned out pretty good. There were definitely a couple of hiccups, and there were a couple of things that may need to be adjusted in the future, but for now, we're gonna stick with my same numbers that I had, with one exception. I did change our clothing budget around just a tiny bit. I have a budget video talking about where we're starting from, and so this is just kind of like a 1 month update video. I have a set number in mind that I plan on savings, just extra into savings for each month, and I'm not going to say that number. I don't want to tell you guys like the goal number for this year. My husband is a very private person. He doesn't want me talking income numbers, but there are some numbers that I can share with you guys. And hopefully the things I learn along the way and the adjustments I make will help you guys if you're in the same kind of boat where you're kind of just starting out with the budgeting. So I'm not going to be talking those kind of numbers, but I am going to be talking about specific category numbers for certain things. He's comfortable with me doing that, so I can kind of share some of the stuff. We fully fund a retirement account. We also fully fund an HSA account, which is a health savings account. So all of our medical stuff comes out of that account. Both of these accounts automatically just get withdrawn from my husband's paycheck, and we don't ever see that money. They're just automatically put in. We don't touch those. But what I'm talking about is just pure savings. I want a set number saved up at the end of the month, each month, to reach a certain set goal for the year. So that's where I'm working with. So we had one major bump this month, which was losing Bella. And if you know anything about dogs and pets being sick, they get expensive really quick when they're sick. That ended up costing us hundreds of dollars. Basically, it's $1,000 that just went down the drain when she passed. With that in mind, that was a big setback. We still saved $732.93 more than the number I wanted to save. So I have a set number in the budget that I want to save. We saved the $732.93 above that, which is awesome. That number just comes from the wiggle room we have in our budget. I have a set amount I want to save. There's also a wiggle room. We don't have a zero-based budget. If you want to know more about zero-based budgeting, Marriage and Motherhood has great videos on budgeting where she talks about that. I wanted wiggle room in my budget, so I have a set number that I want to save, and I have some wiggle room, and then I have everything else budgeted out. We did end up getting back a security deposit for our rental house, so that finally came in, and that's included in that number. And had that not been included, we probably would not have had much excess. It was just really good timing that that check came the same month that Bella passed away, so we had this big expense. Now, as far as the groceries, I have in the budget $500 for groceries, but I did a low grocery month for January, and I only spent $273.59 on groceries, and that left an excess of $226.59, which is also included in that $700 amount that we saved above. We did go over a little bit in our household budget. I have budgeted $400 for extra things as far as decor for the house, furniture, supplies for DIY projects, regular household things like pull-ups, shampoo, that kind of thing. All of that stuff comes out of this household budget, and I have $400 set for that. We did go over by $1.75. The chalk paint that I got pushed us over by $1.75. So what I did was I took that $1.75 out of our entertainment budget, and then that made everything balance out. And to be honest, we ate out a ton after Bella passed. I was just so distraught and so depressed, and we went out for breakfast a couple of times. We had donuts one time. We picked up takeout a couple of times. We still stuck within our entertainment budget. So our entertainment category, I have $250 set aside for entertainment. That covers anything, any kind of activities Olivia and I would do aside from her scheduled, weekly activities. It includes like open gym times, if we go out for ice cream for a special thing, if we go to a museum or some sort of play date where it costs money, that'll come out of that entertainment budget. That's also all of our takeout and eating out. And we did good. There was like, I don't know, $6 or $7 left in that category, which I thought was great. Now, I really personally loved having a separate allowance. So I have a set number, Johnny has a set number, and mine includes my lunch eating out. So it's really trying to motivate me to not eat out for that extra lunch time. I still ate out twice, but I cut back. So I think that was really good for me not going out every week. I did end up getting the Kohl's Cares books for Olivia, which was like $50 or so of that $100. So that was a big chunk of it this month, but those only come out every few months. I still had like $17 left in the budget. And then we went out to eat the beginning of February. I went ahead and stuck that into my allowance for January. So I still had that $17. I went ahead and used that up. And I think that's one of the only categories where I'm going to carry over the amount. So say I had that $17 left, I would add that to my February budget so I can carry it over and then, you know, save up for things out of that allowance. So we do not do cash only. We do not do cash envelopes. I'm one of those people that I blow cash. Like if I have a $20 bill, it's gone. I don't know what happened to it. I cannot track it, but I'm much better with the card. I get receipts. I can go in and look at my account and see what I'm spending, and we pay that off at the end of the month. We never get charged interest. It's just automatically we pay it off. And we also get points for that. So we can cash those points in for cash back or like Visa gift cards. After so long, we'll get a Visa gift card, and that can cover our eating out for a month or 2 months or something, depending on how much we get back. So if you can control yourself enough to use a credit card, then I definitely would recommend doing it that way so you can kind of benefit from it. If you can control it to where you don't carry a balance on it. So that's what we do. But at the same time, you do get the extra temptation where you don't have to track every little cent and you don't have to be super strict about it. That's been me keeping track of it with Excel, me knowing how much I'm going to be spending. When I'm going into the store, when I'm checking out online, I'm checking it with my spreadsheet. Usually I would just swipe and not keep track of it, not think about it ahead of time. So that's been a big shift this month. And I think that part is becoming a habit for me. Anytime I'm checking Amazon for something, I'm like, ooh, it'd be nice to have blah, blah. I check Amazon. I don't pull the trigger right away. I sit and think about it. I check the budget. I make sure that it fits in the budget. I make sure I really want to spend that money on this set thing since now I have a budget. So it's been a huge mind shift for me, and I think it's been really good. I really like how this month has worked out. We had a little bit of a minor setback, which I think we could have saved even more had this not happened, but Johnny had some business stuff going on this last month. So they catered some things, they didn't cater other things, so he would go out to eat more than normal that week. It was kind of important, so he did go to those things. Those things either came out of entertainment allowance and also his personal spending allowance. So they were just extra things. They fit completely in the budget, but I think we definitely could have saved more had Bella not passed and had he not had this work thing. But those are kind of things that you have to just expect to happen. Things are going to happen. Things are going to pop up. You have to have some wiggle room in your budget to account for those things so you're not dipping into savings. You're not dipping into things that shouldn't be touched. We also went over on the gifts category. This is a sinking fund for us. Our goal is to set a certain amount in the sinking fund so it covers gifts for other people, gifts for Johnny and me. This doesn't include Olivia's gifts because we have a Christmas category, and gifts will come out of that. If she gets anything extra throughout the year, it's going to come out of Olivia and Mai's $100 a month allowance. And so like the Kohl's Cares books came out of that. Some of those are set aside for her birthday. What I have found the last few years is I buy a bunch for her for Christmas and I set some of it aside for her birthday. So it's going to be coming out of our Christmas budget, but it's actually some of her birthday stuff too. So I may end up trying to separate that at some point, but right now that really works well. I'll see things on sale that I know she's gonna like. I have a set list of things I wanna purchase for her, and we split them up since her birthday's in February. It's really close to Christmas, and so I can just set things aside for that. So her birthday's pretty much covered from that. The gift fund, we went over by like $3 because it was our anniversary. This was our first month of having the sinking fund. Looking forward to February, we might get a little thing here or there for Valentine's Day, but we don't really go crazy on Valentine's Day. So that will build up and build up. So I think we'll be okay on the gift sinking fund in the future. We just went over this month because it was our first month of doing it. This is a totally new thing for me, sticking to a budget, having set numbers for things, and I loved it. I think it worked out really well. I think I definitely saved money. I was looking at the category and wanting to get a desk for the home office area, and I instead painted the desk we already had. It saved us a bunch of money, and I probably wouldn't have done that had we not started this budget. Had I not had set numbers, I probably would have just spent the $300 on the other desk, even though the desk we had is perfectly fine. It just wasn't the right color on certain spots, and I could change that. It was pretty empowering for me to learn how to paint furniture. It didn't turn out perfect. I'm not saying that it was. I'm Definitely not an expert in painting furniture, but I got it done. And I was so proud. And I was proud on the one hand that I got out of my comfort zone, tried something new. On the other hand, I saved us a bunch of money doing it that way. So it's things like that that's just a total mind shift. You know, I would have just spent the money. We wouldn't have dug into savings over something like that, but we wouldn't have saved as much. The main goal of this is to save that amount of money for a lot of reasons. Just to have it, just to build back up our savings after buying this house, just to have the funds that in a few years we can go purchase a different house if we feel like doing that at that time. It's just nice to know we have that extra. We do have a fully funded emergency fund. You're supposed to have a set number of months in the account. We're really trying to cash flow every single thing, every single purchase, every single emergency out of the extra buffer that we're building into our monthly account. And I think we did really good. Considering the ordeal with Bella, I had set up a sinking fund for her for $600 for the year. That would cover things like her heartworm, her flea prevention, her regular checkups and blood work and stuff that seniors do. It's a little bit bumped up from just any dog. They do like extra stuff to check older dogs. Senior dogs is what they call them. So I had scheduled $600 for that, but we blew through that with her. Ordinarily, that could definitely be something that would come out of an emergency fund. We were definitely able to handle that this month. So the one category I did end up changing was I put $50 a month in our clothing budget. In my previous budget video, I talked about, I don't know if I had bumped it up at that point from 25 to 50. I went ahead and bumped it up because it seems like there's always going to be something Olivia's growing out of or something she needs, so we need to have the budget for that. I thought it would be nice. It can always, you know, have more money than we need in there, so I went ahead and bumped it up so that it'll work out nicely. That's the only tweak that I actually did to the Excel spreadsheet. I ended up kind of mixing the two spreadsheets. Gia from Marriage and Motherhood has a great one. So does One Big Happy. They're a YouTube family. They both have great spreadsheets. I combined them. I made our like yearly at a glance page is Gia's, and then I have different category sections, and that's One Big Happy. So I put them on the same spreadsheet. It pulls totals from the category section. So I'll have a little line for groceries and it'll tally it all up. And that tally number goes onto that yearly page. So I can flip over to the yearly tab and see the actual number of total from the category. I lined them all up in one spreadsheet with different tabs so that they all work together. And I liked the system that I came up with. I had to tweak it, you know, to make it work for me. I just combined those two. So I will still leave links to both of those spreadsheets below. And if you're interested in seeing like how my spreadsheet is set up, I will take the numbers out and show you guys if you're interested. So let me know if you want to see that. I did have to learn how to make each page talk to each other because I didn't know how to do that. So I could share that with you guys as well if you're interested. And I think that covers everything for this month. So looking forward to February. We don't really do much for Valentine's Day. I already had picked up a couple of little things for Johnny and for Olivia, and those just fit in with the categories that I already had. I put some of it in household, and I bought Valentine's Day candy, which came out of the grocery fund. So things like that. I'm doing things where I'm making it fit into the budget for that month. Like we went over on the household by the $1.75. I didn't carry that over to the next month and say we're starting out with, you know, $398.25. I made it fit in with that month's budget. So everything we spent that month sticks in that month, and then we start fresh the next month. And if I find that I'm going over in certain categories, we'll work on cutting back or we'll change the categories. It really just depends on what kind of things we're consistently going over on. Like the household thing, I could have bought one less thing and it wouldn't have gone over, but it was such a small little amount, we could absorb that in another category and it wasn't a big deal. So this month, I'll be just really sure that things fit. I had purchased that paint so late in the month, and it was like the difference between buying the really good paintbrush and the mediocre paintbrush. I went ahead and bought the really good one, went over just a teeny bit. But those are the kind of things where you can play with your budget and you can make it fit into the month. That's my only piece of advice, is try to stick within your month. That's something that Jordan Page from Fun, Cheaper, Free has taught me. If you go over in one category, move it to another category and make it work within that month. Don't start out with a deficit the next month because then you'll just get further behind possibly. So I think that is it. I am not an expert on any level. I was gonna say Give me your questions and I'll try to answer them in my next budget update, but I'm like not an expert. I am such a newbie at this. So if you have advice for me, I would love to hear it. So I would love to know how your January went. Lydia Sin is actually doing a no spend February. I don't know exactly what she's calling it, but she's doing a no spend 2 weeks. So I thought that was a really cool thing to do. Let me know what you guys are doing in February, how January went. I'd love to know if you're doing a low spend or no spend, or how things are going for you, what your goals are, all that stuff. We can continue the budget talk down below. I would definitely love to hear from you guys. So I think that is it for this video. Give me a thumbs up if you like talking about money and budgets. Make sure you subscribe and follow me along, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.